Here we are doing the floor for the remodel house. Dantastic doing floors, final floors. This one right here, you have a seam. And then you have a J seam over here. So it's a little bit different. It's not just sliding in place. It's got a clip in place on your short run. In your long run, it'll slide underneath like your normal flooring. So what you do, you line it up. Come over to the edge, push it down, try to keep that side in. If you have one of these floor hammers, you're going to use the yellow side to smack this, and then you can use the black side. It's a little bit harder to, if you go out and buy the actual set, this goes here and slaps it. If you don't want to go out and buy the set, you can just use a piece of the flooring you don't need with the sliding groove here. Slip it in there and use the black side and go in. I would say buy the set because once you get to the corners or the edges, you're going to try to pull. It's a pain in the butt without one of these. Yeah, you could use the flat pry. But this right here, this tool will save you a lot of time if you use it. So then once you get it in, like I said, this one clips. So I like to start on this side and go away from it. I feel it smooth. Put my bar back, or my hitting piece back in. Make sure the seam's gone. And that's the basics of doing the floor. Now obviously when you get to the corners, you're gonna have to trim and cut and measure, make sure you're gonna be set up right. But for the most part, you have these tools and you leave a space on the ends for growth. It will, with the heat, grow and contract, so you don't put it tight against the walls. If you put it tight against the walls, when it grows, you're gonna get a big bubble in the middle. That's it. Okay? So on the ends, you're always gonna have spots that you don't use a full piece. The key is make sure you cut the right side, or else you're going to go through a lot of wasted material. So you're going to leave the side with nothing on it will go towards the wall. The side with your clip will obviously go towards the other side, your previous piece. So what I like to do, it goes this way. I turn it around where I have the lip facing the rest of the flooring. I make my mark and then I cut it. So when I come back, it's the right side. So you turn the J clip this way, make your mark. That way you know it's gonna be the right size. You think, yeah, I'll just put it up here, make a mark here and go cut it. That won't work unless it's exactly in between. If you have a 48 inch piece, it'll have to be 24 perfect for it to work. But this way, you always know you're gonna have your clip for the right one, and the piece that you cut, that you don't need to hook anything into, goes to the wall. So I figured I'd show you why I like this piece. When you get close to the walls, which obviously you can see the next piece I am going to have to cut in half just about. When you get close to the walls, it makes it hard to hit. I'm going to have a hard time without hitting my actual wall itself. So I put this piece, it even has the foam bottoms. Put it in there. I hold it. You don't have to hold it that hard, and I'm kind of backwards because the camera. Clip it in, or tap it in, tap it in. I am not holding it to this piece. It does not touch the floor because I don't want to damage my next connecting joint. And it's in, and I didn't have to fight it. And by the way, the little trick where I told you if you don't want to buy all this equipment, which is not much, $20, maybe 30, I don't know. But the little trick to using these, my nephew taught me that. He does this for a living, and he just goes through it pretty quick. So this is a very useful, cheaper supplement to that one. But if you were gonna buy one, I would suggest buying this. Spend the money, save time, save headaches, save energy. So besides installing the pieces, you also gotta know how to cut them, because they're not always gonna be equal. They're not always gonna be the whole piece itself. You can see right here, I'm gonna go about half of the actual plank. So there's multiple ways to cut it. Do what you want. I use a jigsaw. I've seen people just use the multi-tool, because the multi-tool, you're typically going up underneath baseboards and raising it up a little bit to slip this under, to slip the edge, that is, underneath of it. I've seen them just go ahead and cut it on down with the multi-tool. I like the jigsaw, a little bit less mess. For cutting straight lines, I borrowed this from a friend of the family. It's really slick. Set it up against the edge, wherever you want your mark to be, and then you push down, and it cuts it. I'm not going to cut that one because I'm actually going to use that one for another room, so I don't want to lose that extra 3 inches. But the jigsaw works for me. If you don't have one of these, you can't. And I don't have a razor blade, but you make your line, you score it twice. Some people say you can score it once, and then you just snap it, almost like drywall. So there's multiple ways to cut it. You just got to find the best one for you. I like not a lot of mess, easy cleanup, and basically that's the two things that I base my cutting methods off of. So if you don't have one of these, which most of us don't, they are not cheap, use a razor blade or a jigsaw. Not all vinyl flooring can you lay the way you want to. It's set up to put the grooves facing out and kind of work that way. Sometimes if you don't want to transition, look over here at the door. I didn't want to put a metal or vinyl transition there, so I kept with the flow of it. So what I'm doing now, I'm working backwards. It is harder, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with it, which I don't have a whole lot of experience working backwards. Working forward, it's a lot easier. Normally I just help people with doing a floor here, a floor there, not a whole house with one specific color. So what I do, you still gotta line up all your seams. Remember, this is the J channel, or I'm calling it J channel. You gotta line up your seams the same way. And to help get underneath here with the male, now we're feeding male into female, whereas if you go the right way, you go female into male, making it way easier. This way they can break easier, they can snap off. I did snap one off over here. I thought it would have been an easy one, but I snapped it off when I tried to adjust it. So if you pick up on it, you can feel it go underneath, and then slide it over. I'm still lining up my short end, still lining up my long end. Tapping it, going away from me. Then I'll grab the slapper. Now be real careful with this, because you can't mess up this female end, then you gotta take the whole piece out. No seam, no seam, no seam. You can't work backwards, it is harder. If you don't want to put the transition, if you're going for time, you don't mind all the transitions, I say go ahead and go for the transition. Hopefully in this house, I only have one transition upstairs, that's to the bathroom, because I want the plank to lay a different way. And then downstairs I'll have one in the laundry room. But you can't work backwards, it's harder. Take your time, save the money on not breaking these. An extra 30 minutes or an extra hour for a room could save you, I don't know, $50, depends how much your flooring costs. Thank you.
Dantastic, doing remodel action, remodel style just for you, letting you know you can do your own floors.
You want to change the look of your house as dramatically as I did this house? You can too, for typically half the cost of what you would get someone else to do it. Just pay for the floor, those few tools, and it's obviously going to take you a lot of time, but you'll appreciate it. You'll know it's done right. You know you won't be too close to the walls or get a bubble in the middle. Well worth it. Do it. Dantastic. Hopefully helping you out. Give me a thumbs up.